How we going? My name is Cuervo27. This is my video sketchbook for December 2023. I'm starting off with this painting I did of my cat Eva. I got a really great photo of her in some early afternoon light, and I really just liked all the reds and oranges and sort of blues picking up in her fur. And the more I looked at it, the more I wanted to push and pull with the colors I was and wasn't seeing. So that's essentially the aim of this painting. Unfortunately, most of this video will be, zoomed out, but this is actually how I paint. This is what my canvas looks like. Bear in mind my reference in the top corner, due to my recording software, didn't quite follow me moving it around my canvas and resizing it and stuff, but the idea is still the same. With any longer painting, if it's a project I know I'm going to be coming back to, I'm not going to be doing it in one sitting. It's always a good idea to just start zoomed out and save yourself the stress. Just get those bigger shapes of value. So it's just that much easier when you do zoom in a little bit more. Just to get that accuracy up front. But okay, yeah. So I'm laying in the darker values of Eva here, and I'm proud of myself for sticking to the blues and violets as much as I can. And with these lighter values on top, you're seeing sort of that nice burnt orange and that sort of like blown out yellow. I think I reel back on this sort of teal color a little bit, but otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how much color I was able to sort of push in here and get away with. Okay, so I flipped the canvas, resized my reference, and yeah, a very normal tactic for me lately. You know, trying to stay as zoomed out as I can, trying to use a bigger brush, bigger mark making, trying to keep things simple. And something I've been learning is, you're fighting more of yourself than the techniques when it comes to painting and drawing. We're always so tempted to put in something we think is cool or neat, when in reality, like, we're only really should be tempting that later in our pieces. But I only say this is an amateur, an intermediate. A lot of the professionals I look up to love working from abstraction without any sort of set guidelines or sort of routine, I guess you can say. But these are the same people who, have learned and facilitated a professional routine in the first place. But I think that's something worth exploring, the starting from abstraction. I think you can get some really powerful stuff when you mess around with that. Okay, going into this third clip, I did this painting in 3 sittings, so 3 recordings. And, I think it took me just under 5 hours, around 5 hours or so. Uh, I forgot to flip the canvas this session, which is fine. I'm working with a navigator, which I usually do with most paintings, or long paintings at least. And yeah, slowly moving towards more saturated color options, investigating some of those smaller shapes in the face. But again, I'm not going for an accuracy or likeness, more so than using the subject matter as a grounds for experimentation. Just, you know, getting these wonderful rusted oranges and violets against these dark saturated blues and reds. I was very happy with the overall look of this painting when I was done. I was pleasantly surprised with just how much color I have in the foreground carpet right next to her, but since I kept it a little more muted than all the colors seen in her, I think it just works so well, especially at like arm's length. She pops just so well. And I'll go ahead and post the final image here in a second. But if there's anything I could maybe critique about the painting, it's just this area in the shadow right in front of her, and her chest and the paws there. I make some cool color choices, but I think I was making them more in service of like the edge or outline of her like chest and front paws there, more so than trying to find a cool color that works right there, and I kind of fumble my shapes in that shadow. But again, not the main focus here. Just one thing I think I probably could have done a little better on, or more attention there. But overall, very happy with how this turns out. I really need to start painting her more often, but you'll see the final piece here on screen. So nice and brightly saturated here in just a second while I finish in the background. But yeah, not much more else to say about this. I really like the little bit of life I got from just throwing in those stray hairs and the whiskers. Great effect. And yeah, so kind of pleasantly surprised at how well this turned out. I guess it just goes to show, if you keep your aim simple enough, you should get a decent return, right? If you just put the effort in. But yeah, great little painting. Glad I recorded it, and I'm glad it came out this well. Moving on to the next painting here. The rest of the video, I'll just be showing color studies I've been doing. And I've been kind of obsessed with color for past couple of months. Honestly, ever since I got to hear Marco Bucci talk about color at Lightbox 2023, it's been sitting in the back of my mind comfortably, rent-free. But anyways, this is just a study. You can see the reference up there in the top left. I I work on a flipped canvas for most of this, and avoid my own advice of flipping every 5 to 10. But yes, so this is a color study. The aim is to try and replicate the colors I'm seeing, and like with most studies, it's a good idea to limit our approach or our methodology or what we're doing to actually do the study. So in these instances, like I'm doing a lot of these color studies as a part of a Discord challenge, but one of the things recommended with any one of these studies, whether it's color, perspective, any sort of fundamental, whatever your goal may be, I would say there's merit in limiting what you're using to obtain that goal. And in this instance, I'm using the lasso fill tool in Clip Studio Paint. And I'm very fond of this tool. If you're not familiar with it, You're essentially using it like any other lasso selection tool. However, once you lift your stylus, the shape that you've made will be paint bucket filled with the currently selected hue. And honestly, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me. I love painting with it, but here you could even see I'm not necessarily trying to make any sort of specific shape. I'm still trying to be more fast and loose with um, the areas of color I'm trying to capture. And there's a lot of just sharp shapes in this whole image, but I love the warm range of colors and saturations I was able to get with this. It was just fantastic. So again, I think there's a lot of merit in approaching any painting, especially something, if you're not planning on sharing it or anything, if it's just personal work. Don't be afraid to okay, I'm just gonna paint with a hard round, zero opacity brush, or I'm going to paint with the line tool or the shape tool, or just whatever else. If you limit yourself to one sort of avenue and just explore it to its potential, that has really great yields when you start combining different approaches and brushes. As cynics would love to say, limitation is the mother of creativity. And the more I've experimented with this sort of philosophy, the more I believe it to be very, very true. So with this next study, um, I probably cared a little bit too much about the readability of the image or the cohesiveness more so than the color selection. I'm still happy with the end results. Both this one and the last one were done in 50 minutes. And so, for a subject matter like this, I probably should have given myself a little bit more time, just to try and capture more of the color I was seeing, more so than making the image just readable, like the reference. But otherwise, I'm still happy with it. I'm noticing that I kind of have an affection for this lighting setup of a very harsh or high chroma skylight or rim light, hitting on something or the subject matter, and the light's so intense that it creates these sort of ambient color harmonies and all the shadows and stuff. That's probably the new art meta right now, if you can even say such a thing exists. But otherwise, I love it. You can see a little bit of that in the painting I did of my cat earlier. But again, in this one, I feel like I probably was worried more about having a readable image than exploring all the colors. I do like, some of the exploration I do, especially in the the white parts of the skirts or like the shoulders or head dressing stuff, just to mess with all those warm but darker sort of reds and blues. And I think even sneaking like a little bit of green in there almost. But even the dark black of their dresses, I believe, is just a very dark but still saturated red. But yeah, still happy with this one. I I probably could have given myself a little more time if I wanted something a little more extensive and filling in the gaps. But again, still happy with that. Definitely feel like I could have pushed it a little further, but still a great study. Glad I did it. And also, don't be afraid to paint stuff that interests you. That's just interesting or neat subject matter. I picked this reference because I do like the lighting setup and the sort of palette it creates, but also too, like, I think the subject matter is cute and interesting, and I'll probably repaint this later down the road. But don't be afraid to find reference and paint things you actually like. So with this next study, it's a screen cap from the Mario movie. And if you haven't seen the Mario movie, regardless of whether you like the video games or hate Chris Pratt, I would recommend just checking it out, because the amount of intense color they have in that movie, just in every scene, it's so just awesome. So I would wholeheartedly recommend just getting some of that in your visual library. And so I really am happy with the intensity I was able to get in the hue selection here. I have trouble with Bowser trying to balance out that sort of fire that's in the background behind him, and the reflections of him, of that light on him, while still, trying not to outshine the intensity you see in the foreground here. I think I got a pretty good balance, but maybe not quite as much of the same hue variety as I would have liked. Uh, but yeah, still, again, getting that fuzz and glow from lights, sort of creating their own sort of ambient light around them. Very tricky to get, but uh, if I could critique this one, probably could have spent a little more time um, figuring out those desaturated tones in Bowser, and working out more of those ambient occlusion tones that he's got here and there. Um, but I still like the study overall. Still good read. Still great color selection. I'm honestly surprised I was able to capture that intensity, having such a bright light in the foreground in a top right corner of like the canvas. So pretty cool. Um, yeah. So do studies of video game movies. So this next study is from the newer Blade Runner movie. Pretty popular scene of this giant projection sort of interacting with the main character. But with the reference, I didn't really want to risk showing it on a YouTube video. But regardless, when I post the full canvas here in a little bit, you can see I'm happy with the variety of color I was able to get, but I don't think I got dark enough, honestly. It still felt too bright in comparison, and I think that's an area where I struggle a bit, is in those sort of half-tone areas and darker but muted areas of the color palette. But anyways, I still had fun with this one. A lot of interesting color combos and shapes just happening. Even in the hair, that sort of really vivid blue, contrasting against all these like just burning pinks, and just sort of this transition to the right of the canvas where we have so much sort of dark purples, and then you have like sort of like steam reflecting some like light from a lighter and ambient light towards the right of the screen, but it's even still not very bright, like it wouldn't even match the intensity of the hologram to the left. And I'm happy that I stayed pretty consistent with my mark making. I'm again a big fan of these triangles lately. It's so easy to apply. But anyways, my accuracy to the ref is pretty good. Again, just trying to replicate the colors I see, just trying my best to train my eye to pick up on these subtleties here and there. And it's definitely a challenge, you know, because if you have an airbrush, just the power of that opacity at your fingertips, it's just you have a much fonder appreciation for it when you're used to just having to use big blocks of 100% opacity color. But again, I'm no stranger to this danger. I love this tool. I love using it, and happy with this study. Like how it turned out. But again, definitely feel like it should be way darker on the right side. Like I didn't quite get that, and I've been noticing lately it's almost like my eyes adjust to color, to dark color after a while of staring at it. Almost like your eyes adjusting in a dark room. And as we come to the tail end of the video, just going to be showing uh, a couple of color studies I didn't record, a couple of quicker ones. This one coming up 25 minutes with the hard round brush. Pretty happy with this, especially those candles and all the color I got in that coffee mug. I love painting coffee mugs, I can't help it. This next one, simple exercise, rendering a sphere with a singular brushstroke direction in a monochromatic palette. A great way to explore color and just, you know, get some easy studying in. But I'm gonna end it on my self-portrait I finished back in November, waving goodbye to all you wonderful people. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I plan to make this a weekly, or more like every few weeks or every month, just exploring and documenting what I've been painting and drawing and getting into. But thank you for watching. Thank you for arting. Thank you for being so dope. Please enjoy the rest of your day.